Thank you very much indeed for staying with us on the Rise America. We're reaching you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I'm Tolu Ojomi. We're now being joined by Rise News analyst Rotimi Kade for more on the Minnesota killings and anti-Trump protests. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Rotimi. Now, you have been following the protest and the Minnesota incident. Speak to us. Let's start with the anti-Trump protest. Isn't this one protest too many? Since taking office in January, it's only barely 6 months, and it's been one protest after the other. I mean, isn't Trump facing too many enemies all at once?
Well, I'm not going to say that. I think it's quite expected that we're going to be experiencing some of those protests. Reason being that the president actually took a different turn compared to what he did in his first term. It was more of a hardliner this second term than the first term. And you can see for so many reasons, like the Doge, cutting down on social security, cutting down on food stamps, cutting down on so many welfare benefits that ordinary Americans actually enjoyed, and also the way the administration has, reacted as far as racial concerns, put forward. That's the reason why a lot of people feel that, the administration has not, done, perhaps, moved to the direction at which they expected. Don't forget also that the Trump administration has signed over 100 executive orders since it came into office in 2000, early this year. That's January 20th. And that has disrupted the way of life of a lot of Americans. And they feel like, hey, it's high time, whether you're Democrats, Republicans, or independents, or whatever political leanings that you belong to, it's time for everybody to come up and stand up against the president, because the president, according to them, is taking the footsteps of, dictators or dictatorship as we've known it in other parts of the world.
Rotimi, well, one of the issues they have against the president is militarization of their democracy and the billionaire first economy. I can understand their grouse against militarizing their democracy, but the billionaire first economy, America is primarily a capitalist economy anyway. Shouldn't they have got used to this?
Well, absolutely not. The vast majority of Americans actually believe that America is not just meant for the billionaires. America is meant for everybody. Particularly now that the world economy has been affected, no thanks to COVID, in the past 4 to 5 years now, the global economy is gradually picking up, and the America policies could actually make or mar, that. And the way the president has actually, introduced his way of managing the economy is, is a far cry from what normal Americans actually believe it should be. For instance, I'll give you, an example. When you talk about a billionaire economy, or the president is, with his new bill, going to grant billionaires more tax cuts, while you have more regular Americans paying more. And Americans believe that that is not the way to go, that the president should, consider the people first. And the Republicans will argue, even the president will argue that, hey, we're not just giving billionaires tax cut. We are also ensuring that we maintain, certain, incentives for certain demographics in the society. For instance, when the president said the campaign on no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security. Part of the lacunas that a lot of Democrats and Republicans found in the new beautiful bill, where they believe that that is obviously going to increase the national debt, which is going into over $30 trillion. They believe that it's going to add $4 trillion more to that. And the president is saying, you know what, we need to start sanitizing the Social Security system because he believes that the vast majority of people, or will I say 30% or less of people who are enjoying Social Security in America currently are people who do not have business in being on Social Security payroll, like illegal immigrants or perhaps people who are still undocumented. And the president said, you know what, we need to take those people out so that real Americans can actually enjoy the Social Security and welfare benefits. But still, people still argue that, yes, billionaires get the lion's share of the president's tax cut. Republican type of economist is trickle-down effect, which means they believe that if you give tax cut to the billionaires can plow that back into the economy, and by so doing, the multiplying effect, the trickle-down effect of employing more people. And a lot of times we've seen that played out at every dispensation, and it doesn't really help the economy so far. So, but I think what people are more angry about is the way the president is, actually, taking his, his presidency towards dictatorship, and that's what people are standing against.
Rotimi, we'll come to Minnesota killing, but just before that, what a way protest here and there across the cities in America. What a way of celebrating the Army's 250th birthday. But where do you see this protest taking the people anyway? What results, what outcomes do you foresee?
Well, yes, we are very much aware that people are also in a position to what the president actually want to do on the 250th anniversary of the Army, and particularly because they believe that this is not the way the United States actually operates. The last time we had a military parade was in 1991 under a Republican president, President George H.W. Bush, when America troops came back all the way from the Gulf War. So apart from that, America did not do that ceremonial military parade as we're seeing in other part of the world, especially in the dictatorial regimes. And people were like, hey, we're going to stand up against this because this is an indicator to some of their fears about President Trump's being a dictator. And that's why they say, oh, there's no king protest going to go all across the country. But anyways, the FBI, all the law enforcement agencies are saying people should bear precaution. You have the right to protest. But again, you don't have the right to make it violence. So everybody is trying to, all the law enforcement agencies are crossing their T's and dotting their I's and making sure that it doesn't degenerate into something of more of a violence. However, talking about other protests all across the country, we've seen what's happening in Los Angeles, and we're going to be seeing more as we move forward.
Okay, we're wrapping this up, right? Let's talk about Minnesota killing. John and Melissa Hoffman killed at their home. Tim Ward is saying this was politically motivated. I wanted to quickly react to this in a few seconds so we can wrap this up.
Well, that's what the governor said, politically motivated, but we do not actually know the intention of the killers. There's a prime suspect. His name is Vance Luther Borton, who impersonated himself as a police officer into the homes of the House Speaker. Melissa and her husband got killed eventually. But we do not know the intention of that. It's still very much at large. The government and the government of the governor, I should say, said that hey, everybody should not protest in the upcoming protest nationwide because this very killer is still very much at large. We do not know exactly his intention. We don't know his political leanings, but you want to suspect that since these deceased state lawmakers is a Democrat, perhaps maybe he's a sympathizer of the other political parties. We don't know that, but there's a huge manhunt right now. The FBI, the Homeland Security, the every other officials are on top of the situation. The president has actually instructed all his officials to use all their resources to make sure that this particular suspect is brought to book.
Okay. Mark and Melissa Hartman are gone. We await what the investigations will bring out from their assassination. Thank you very much indeed, Rotimi Kade, for coming on Arise America.